Hello and welcome to Business Standard Views of the Week. How might the world overcome the multiple overlapping crises it's facing? How can India truly become a preferred place to do business in? How will Navjot Singh Sidhu versus Amrinder Singh episode in Punjab impact the Congress party's national prospects? Subscribe to Business Standard and read this week's top opinion pieces to find out. We start off with an incisive piece on how the world can pull back from the precipice of disaster it finds itself standing on today. The world has too many fires to fight, from climate change to global power shifts. So much so that it feels like we are living through the interesting times of the Chinese curse. In his latest column, TN9 identifies the 5 major crises and challenges that the world faces today. He also prescribes the one cure that could eventually help remedy all the myriad elements we are facing. Our next column sticks to the topic of meeting global challenges. Conventional economic theory says that growth and development are directly coupled to the consumption of cheap fossil fuels. Can India demonstrate a new paradigm? And can it strike a balance between ensuring climate justice, fostering economic growth, and combating global warming? Answering these questions in their latest column, Jayant Sinha and Anshu Bharadwaj flesh out the 3 broad pathways India's carbon emissions could follow in the coming years. They also lay out what policymakers need to do today to ensure a better tomorrow. From global, we now move to local. The next piece deals with meeting an internal challenge India faces. India improved its global rank in the world's ease of doing business index by going from 142nd in 2014 to 63rd in 2019. Everything should be going swimmingly well then, right? Not quite. Despite this massive jump, India's GDP growth rate fell more than 4 percentage points between 2016 and 2019. Meanwhile, private investment as a share of GDP fell by over 3 percentage points from 25% in 2014-2013 to under 22% in 2016-2019. In his latest column, Ajay Chibbar diagnoses the cause of these issues. He also outlines what the country needs to do to achieve high growth rates and recover the 2 years it has lost to the coronavirus pandemic. Next up, we look into the IPO that's been on everyone's mind and how things might proceed for Zomato from here onwards. Got caught up in the crazy demand for the Zomato IPO? Why not, when people have gone as far as to brag on social media about snagging shares in the startup? But now that the frenzy is over, let's try and answer the most important question on any investor's mind. Will the performance match the hype? Shyamal Majumdar's latest column helps you do just that, as it brings together what international investors have learned from the likes of DoorDash, Lyft, Uber, and Deliveroo. Moving on, our next column makes a suggestion that's in keeping with the government's newfound area of focus. So far, there have been 4 dozen recipients of the Bharat Ratna. They come from diverse fields, from politics, social service, science and technology, performing arts, industry, even sports. Its recipients from Rajiv Gandhi to Sachin Tendulkar have left their mark on the country. Now, Shailesh Dobel's latest column suggests another name that merits independent India's highest civilian honor. To strengthen its argument, the column also highlights how the suggested candidate would go well with the Modi government's focus on the cooperative sector. On the topic of the government's priorities, here is an issue that should be on the top of its list. Reports that many Indians have been targeted by the Pegasus spyware are disturbing but not surprising. The list of persons allegedly targeted involves over 1,000 Indians, including at least 40 journalists and several members of parliament, from members of the ruling party and ministers to the opposition. The government has said that it isn't behind this surveillance program. Business Standard delves into the terrifying alternative possibility that this statement of denial gives rise to. It also outlines the institutional safeguards we need to build to avoid more such incidents. Moving on, we bring you a column that offers a somewhat novel solution to India's Afghanistan worries. The writing on the Hindu Kush wall is clear. The Taliban are in the ascendant. Chances that the Ghani government will decisively defeat the Taliban military are near zero. Looking beyond the conventional notion of India-Taliban hostilities, Shekhar Gupta outlines the radical changes the BJP government needs to make in its foreign policy and domestic politics to tackle the Afghanistan challenge. We bring this episode of BS Views of the Week to a close with a thought-provoking column on state and national politics. Why has all hell broken loose in Punjab over the decision to make Navjot Singh Sidhu the chief of the state Congress unit? Why are questions now being raised about the party's prospects at the next assembly election, which was once considered a sure thing? Veer Sanghvi's latest column reveals what is wrong with the current avatar of the Congress party by way of answering these questions. It also analyzes the Punjab episode's impact on the party's national prospects. Find the links to these columns and editorials in the video description below. For more insights and analysis in the world of business, finance and politics, subscribe to this channel and click on the bell icon.
If you like this video, share it and subscribe to Business Standard. For more news, views and insights, log on to www.business-standard.com. Do also follow us on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Telegram and LinkedIn.